Can you summarise for our viewers the impact of Omicron in your country thus far? How many infected, how many hospitalisations, and how many deaths?
Yeah, good morning, Trevor. Yeah, I think it's been a kind of a mixed bag in a way because basically, on the one hand, we've had a very rapid rising uh, rate of infections. In fact, if you look at the epidemic curve, it's almost vertical, so steep is it going up. In fact, our doubling time at the moment is about 1 to 1.5 days. It's, in other words, every 1.5 days, we're doubling in numbers. So it's rapidly increasing. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, our hospitalization rates have not been that high. And also within hospitalized individuals, it's only about 15%, I think is the latest data we've got, of those hospitalized are actually either in ICU or in high care. So it looks so far that the clinical expression has been mild, but that could really be due to the fact that immunity in the country is high, either from natural immunity, from past infection, or from vaccination. So that's the other. So that's the kind of positive side. The rate of transmission is the negative side, and the one other negative that does appear to be quite apparent is that there's a lot of what we call vaccine escape. A lot of people that have been fully vaccinated are still getting infected, but fortunately, of that group, the great majority are mild. So that's a kind of a round overall picture where we are at the moment.
That's very helpful. The population in South Africa is, on average, much younger than the population here. And our Cabinet Minister, Secretary of State for Education, who I spoke to earlier in the programme, painted a picture of exponential growth of Omicron here, which at one level is pretty terrifying. And he said that even if it is milder, as you seem to be suggesting from the data in South Africa, we could still end up with a really large number of cases, bearing in mind that we have, many more older people. Is that something that we ought to be alarmed about?
Yeah, Trevor, I don't want to give the kind of wrong impression that the Omicron is causing milder disease. I think what we're seeing, there's a lot more mild disease, but that's, I think, because of immunity. It's very early days at this stage, and I don't think at this stage we can be confident in saying Omicron is a milder variant. We hope it's going to be, but I don't think we can say. And, if you look at the virus itself, virologically, to date, there's no real evidence to suggest that it will be milder. So you make a very good point. If there's a higher proportion of older individuals, it may well not express itself quite as much as we've seen, quite in the same way as we've seen in South Africa. But one thing I should point out, though, is that we are seeing more and more cases in younger individuals. In fact, even in young children, as young as 2 years of age, we've seen quite some serious cases. So we need to kind of take that into the balance as well.
So would your advice to us be, don't get ahead of yourself, treat this as being as serious potentially as Delta or any other variant we've encountered thus far?
I think we need to. I think we must avoid trivializing it. At this stage, we're still gathering information. We're hoping it's going to be a tamer virus, but we really cannot say so at this stage. So at the moment, we do need to treat it as seriously as Delta, with all the kind of precautions that we took for Delta. We can't let up on that at the moment.
Have you got any thoughts or any idea about how long before we'll get some hard enough data to be able to make, proper sense of how serious this thing really is?
Yeah, we are gathering data, in fact, day by day, week by week. So I would guess that certainly in the next couple of weeks, we should have a much better perspective on the virus. We must remember we've only had this virus for about 3 or 4 weeks. So it's still really early days. We're still in South Africa on the upward trajectory of our fourth wave. So we still need to kind of be cautious. Hopefully 3 or 4 weeks' time, we'll have a much better view of it.
So we may know something by the new year. Our government is saying, and I heard it again this morning from our minister, that there is evidence that the booster jab has a significant impact on the virulence of Omicron. Is that what you're seeing in South Africa?
Yes, I think the booster certainly will have a significant effect. You know, it's only relative that there is vaccine escape. So obviously, the more we stimulate the immune system, we can kind of get a higher level of immunity to overcome this potential vaccine escape. In South Africa, we're not nearly as extensive in boosting. As you are, for example, the United Kingdom. So we wouldn't really be able to kind of give data at this stage on that.
Professor Shub, thank you so much for your information. Valuable and fascinating as ever.
Thank you, Trevor. Thank you.